Looks like this is working. Yeah, okay. Let's hope I don't get interrupted by someone halfway through doing this. So, you're just sitting in lane, doing absolutely nothing. You know, you could start. I think with this rune page should be alright starting a camp. You just take W and do wolves. That could set Echo back a bit. You're laning versus Kassadin. He is very weak early versus Irelia because you have flat magic resist and a lot of health and a lot of sustain. So you're not affected. You're not, you don't lose anything from teleporting in at level 1. For example, against champions like maybe Riven or Pantheon or someone like that who's a very strong early game that can potentially completely like wreck you within the sort of first 5 levels. In that case, you might want to consider not taking camp and then porting to lane, because if you get forced out of lane, you could potentially lose a lot of XP. So anyway, like, what the hell is this positioning? That's like the first thing I'm thinking here. Yeah, before I get into like start bombarding you, I'm going to, because this is the first time I'm watching you, I'm going to just say everything that I see happening wrong here. So it's obviously your silver elo. It's gonna be a lot, but we can sort of work out, ways to fix sort of small, you know, fix out each of the problems individually later on. But now I'm just gonna completely unload on you. So anyway, the positioning, right? Kassadin, level 1. What does Kassadin have at level 1? He's not going to have his E, because he's got nothing to charge that up with. His W doesn't do any damage, and anyway, would your creep aggro, and you have, you're an AD champion, you're versus a AP champion, so you will win when auto attack trading. Even though he gets extra damage on his W, you'll still win. Now, another thing you're not doing here is you're not clicking on Kassadin. Always right click on him to show the little information thing. It'll tell you a lot about what you can do at level 1, because say if they're taking a scaling health page with only 1 armor quint and scaling magic resist or whatever, they're not going to have any defenses at level 1, so you can just completely shit on them. Or maybe if you if you're against a I don't know, a Riven, and she's taking flat health and armor quints. Flat health yellows, armor quints. You can't really trade with that early on at all, so you can get a lot of information about, what can you do, what can you not do, how should you play in lane, based simply on what runes the enemy laner is taking, because, runes have a pretty huge effect over how powerful you are at level 1. So as I said, you should be positioning much more aggressively, because Kassadin doesn't really have anything to respond, like anything to hurt you at this point in the game. And now, okay, another thing you have to do is you have to decide here whether you're going to push or you're going to let it push at level 1. You can potentially push the lane, like, the advantage of pushing the lane is, of course, that he has to play passive. You might lose him some CS. He'll have to CS on the tower. You can move around. The advantage of him pushing is it for him, it will stop you from being able to trade as much. Because if he builds up a minion wave, you're not going to be able to trade into his minion wave because you're going to draw aggro and you lose the trade. So, okay. Now, go back. Did you really have to queue this? Like, couldn't you just have walked up and auto-attacked it for all three of these? You know, what's the most he's going to do? He's going to queue you and then what, auto-attack you? His auto-attacks don't do shit. Like, he's an AP champion. So, I doubt he's running my cheesy AD Kassadin top. Because no one does that. So you just successfully put your Q on cooldown. You wasted 70 odd mana, 80 odd mana. Now look, you can't really trade into this because he has a minion advantage. Well, you should be able to, as Irelia, you should be able to abuse Kassadin's early game. Because he has to come up to CS, you can deny him a lot of farm. Turn this down a bit. So, I think that's the right thing to do there. You freeze the wave, but don't push it out. Like, you want to keep the wave under your tower for a bit now, while Echo's here, and you just want to stay relatively healthy. You don't want to trade like that. Suppose you didn't draw minion aggro there, but you don't want to trade like that against his minion wave. Okay, so you screw up your Q, right? Like, when you see that, you know, when you see the tower's about to hit it, like right here, right there, there's no way you can kill that minion, because look at the health on it, you're not going to kill that with your Q, so you just say, okay, I'm just going to lose that minion. Now, what you should have done actually here is not hit that minion at all, it would have gone under the tower, taken one shot, and then it would be at perfectly the amount of health for you to kill it in one hit, but that's, you know, that's CSing. You have to predict when the minions are going to, you know, how much health the minions are going to lose in a certain amount of time. So that puts your Q on cooldown. Your mana is now even lower, you're at half mana. Well, you could still be pretty much full mana. You didn't need to E that there. That's like, what's the point in using abilities on the minions if you don't have to? Because it just costs you mana. Even if you're Riven, it doesn't cost you mana, but it still costs you the ability to trade. So there, you jumped on him, and you didn't take into account how much mana you had. This is like a really common mistake, low elo, is not considering how much resources you have. So you just have to like make it habit before you think, well, you know, before you start a trade, before you jump in on him and start him, you have to think, well, what is the position of the enemy jungler? Is the enemy jungler going to gank when I jump on him? If, you know, in many cases, if they gank while you're jumping on the enemy top laner, you're gonna die for it. So is it safe? Is it safe in terms of, you know, other enemies being around? Next, you know, you also have to consider what is the positions of the minions. Here, you started the trade with a minion disadvantage. You have 2 minions, he has 5. So his minion wave is going to hugely outdamage your minion wave. This is really important with Irelia because your trade is based entirely off auto attacks. So the longer you stay in a minion wave trading, the more damage you're going to take. So you considered your minions. You know, can you even trade? You know, do you have the mana to trade? Do you have the health to trade? Will you win the trade? Or will the trade put you at an advantage, right? Even though you might lose more health than them, the trade might still be an advantage to you because maybe your jungler is about to come while their jungler's on the other side of the map. So you have to consider like all of these things before you start a trade, and you have to know beforehand, more or less, what's going to happen when you start a trade. Next, like, what is you're playing Irelia, right? You're maxing W. Your level 3 is pretty much your weakest part of the laning phase. You've got 1 point in your W, you've got 1 point in your E, and 1 point in your Q, so you don't really do that much damage. Like, at level 4, you pretty much double your damage with auto. You double the damage you do with your W. So, level 4 is strong, and then level 5 is even stronger. So, usually you avoid trading at level 3 because most other champions are actually quite powerful at level 3. Like Riven, for example, is really powerful at level 3. Renekton is pretty powerful at level 3. So you avoid trading at level 3 just because you're weak. As Irelia, you're just weaker at level 3. And you just have to understand that beforehand. So if you'd not started this trade here, you wouldn't have lost half your health. You wouldn't have used up all of your mana. And now Uda's coming to gank you. And you would have had mana, but you don't. So you can't really follow up. And you just popped... Okay, you popped a flask, that's alright. You missed your Q there. That's just mechanical stuff. Wow, he's slow. And you're not gonna have mana for your Q. You should die. Okay. So Kassadin fucking pushed up like an idiot without warding, without any idea of where Uda is. And that's like the most obvious time for Uda to gank, right? He does a full clear, comes top. Like that's what you should be expecting from Echo as well. Which is why in many cases, especially since you saw Echo was starting on bottom side, you should just let the lane push because even though Irelia's level 1 and level 2 are pretty powerful, the fact that your level 3 is weak means that when they gank at level 3, or maybe level 4, you don't really want to be in a position where, where you're pushed up. So what you want to do is you want to let the wave push back into your tower. It's probably the most basic way to play Irelia, is let the wave push back into your tower, let it bounce back from your tower, and now see it in this position would be what Echo would have to gank you at. He's not going to be able to gank you at, here, because even if you're standing up here zoning Kassadin out, there's no way they can kill you through this creep wave and the fact that you're like, you're a second movement away from your tower. So it's really, this gives you a big advantage by letting the wave push to you at level 1. In terms of at least countering a gank. So keep going. You're missing a lot of CS, whatever. You're using a lot of mana. So here. Okay, look. What? Why did you just queued the minion from full health? That's like, why wouldn't you just queue to him? But even then, you don't really have any mana. Like, what I think you should do in this situation, like here, is you should just walk up to the minion wave and start ordering it to push it into tower. Especially, you see Echo shows down here on your minimap. Uda's coming to gank. You have this huge minion wave piled up here. There's no way they can 2v2 you in this minion wave. So you just come here, push it up. You accept that you have no mana, so you can't really trade. So you just push the minion wave up. You keep your E ready. If Kassadin hits you, you just stun him in the middle of the minion wave. He's gonna take like half of his health from the minion wave. He already used this TP, so that puts him at a huge disadvantage because you're just gonna push this in, base, come back, either walk back or teleport back, and he's gonna be at a huge health disadvantage to you. So you know, you just push this out. Use your minion wave to your advantage. You know, early top lane is hugely minion wave based. Actually, early game on every lane is hugely minion based. Mid lane is probably the least minion based at sort of mid and low elo. But bottom lane and top lane is hugely minion based because you can, you know, you can build up these huge waves like that. And you can deny people, you know, the ability to shade. So if you're pushing this out, what's gonna happen is Echo can come, whatever. Kassadin, he's not gonna really be able to do anything to you. You know, you can still stand in this minion wave. You have all of these all of these minions. If Kassadin comes in and auto attacks you, he's gonna be tanking all of these. Each one of these minions does like 10 damage maybe to him. So what? You've got like 10 minions here. So he's gonna be taking like 100 damage a second from just the minions, maybe even more. You know, he's not gonna be able to burst you. He has no items. Like there's nothing he can do to stop you from pushing this wave into his tower. Which is what you want to be doing now. You just want to push this wave in, and you want to base. That's a really good stun. Because now he's tanking the minion wave. Like, all of that damage, he took half of his health from the minion wave. Here, look. Your minions are still alive. You know, what can you do here? Just sit in the minions. Sit in the minions and auto attack. Auto attack Kassadin. Actually, I don't know. If Udo was good, I think you'd both focus Echo at this point, because Echo does more damage over time, and he's more squishy actually than Kassadin. So you just keep hitting Echo. You know, you don't need to flash out, because look, Echo's level 3, you're level 5. The minions are fucking destroying, like they're raping face right now. And when you flash out, that throws you out of the minion aggro range, right? So you can just sit in there and let the wave push into the tower. See, he almost died from that. If you were just sitting there in the minion wave and didn't flash out, he would have died. You would have killed him. You might have even killed Kassadin too. Even though you had no mana. Like, you have to use, you have to see advantages like that. And watch wickd play, watch ICU. They both are really good at, wickd especially is really good at managing minion waves. And I think that's one of his biggest strengths as a player is the way he manages minion waves. But you have to sort of understand why he does everything he does. You know, you have to look at each moment in the games where he's playing, and then you have to think, why is he doing this at the moment? You know, what advantage does he get from pushing, or what advantage does he get from freezing the wave here? So here you know, you could still walk up there and push this last wave out, you know, and get full wave of XP. But anyway, so moving on from that. So next thing that you want to do here is this is just going to push into him and it's going to reset. In the time it takes for his tower to kill all these minions, you can walk to lane. Like, there's no point in teleporting here. Because Uda has no mana. You don't really have that good items. Like, what you should be aiming for, I think, against Kassadin is a Sheen base. So 1200 gold. So you based at about 1000 gold. I mean, if you'd been CSing properly, you would have got a 1200 gold base here. Which would have been perfect for you because you just kill him at level 6. Because if you'd pushed this into tower and then came back and walked back to the lane with the Sheen, you would have been able to kill him off your level 6. Maybe even just kill him at level 5. So, you know, you have to think, what am I trying to do in this lane? You have to think proactively. Like, you have to be the one that's making stuff happen in lane. Because otherwise the enemy's just going to make stuff happen and it's going to put you in awkward situations. I think that's the right place to ward there. At least, I don't know. In high elo, that would be where you would ward, I think. In low elo, I think just river ward would have been fine. But I don't really think you need to ward immediately, especially because Udyr is there. But then again, if you ward, that gives him a false sense of security that your jungler isn't there. But he wouldn't know that. It's Silverila, so you didn't have to queue there again. Like, so how can you start this trade better, right? So he uses his Q on you. So when he walks forward, okay, that's alright. So he walked furthest forward. There. Did you W before you Q'd him or what? No, you have to W first. You have to W first, so then it gives you an extra proc with W, so that's 45. That was pretty bad. And you're going to lose this whole minion wave of XP, so he's going to be an advantage when he comes back, I think. His teleport won't. His teleport is going to be up, I think, actually. Maybe not. But that was a pretty bad dive. I don't think you should have. Like, as soon as you got slowed by Kassadin's E. As soon as that happened, there was no way you were going to safely finish that dive. Yeah. No, you didn't get slowed. Why didn't? What? Oh, you're just clicking on them. So you know how to orb walk. You click on them, and then as soon as the damage from your auto is dealt, then you click next to them, so that you're walking immediately. Otherwise, if there's an extra portion of the animation that it'll complete if you're still clicking on him. So if you click next to him, it'll cancel the rest of your auto animation. You would have got at least one extra order there, and you probably would have killed him without both of you dying. Udyr might have died, but I think it would have been fine if only Udyr died, because you would have been able to push out the wave and he would have lost a lot of XP. Anyway, items go for Phage, that's fine. Good, you pink. You always want to pink before you show in lane, so that the enemy doesn't really know you've pinked. Because if you come into lane and then pink it afterwards, it'll be really obvious. Like, you went to ward, you had a pink in your inventory. Okay, so that was really hesitant of you, I think, there. Like, you stunned. You just stunned him. Like, what this tells me is you just stunned him to stun him. Like, why would you even use your stun here? Like, unless you were going to force a trade, like, and I think you can force a trade in this situation. So you just stun him, and then you're like, well, oh wait, I can actually trade. And that second delay there before you start hitting him means he gets out of your auto attack range. So if you'd been, if you decided you want to trade, you have to decide you want to trade. Otherwise, there's not really any point in using your E on him because it's just a waste of mana. Cancelled your auto. I don't know if the audio even was on him, but you wasted your ult. You see, you almost full to zeroed him there. I think if you'd let the wave push in a bit more and then jumped on him, you would have full to zeroed him. You can just kill him straight up. You should use a flask. Wow, you're lucky you didn't get into range. I think, could you have killed him there? You had 93, so probably not. If you'd used a flask there, you would have been able to kill Kassadin. Just EM, it stuns, and then WW order Q. So you know how to get or like how you use your Q, right? You try to use your Q at the end of the trade, like when you're either when your W it times out, or at the last point that you're going to be able to do damage. Use it as an auto attack reset. You can't jump on him like that because he'll just jump away. You have to wait for him to jump on you, or you have to use a minion. If you jump to a minion that's next to him and then stun him, then if he jumps away, you'll still be in range because they nerfed his ult. So what do you want to do here? That was a completely stupid base by him. Like that's such a bad base because this is pushing into you. He's going to lose this cannon minion wave, so he loses a pretty damn big chunk of XP from that. And you can freeze. If you freeze, he's overextended. He can't, like, either he comes up to the minions, or he's gonna die to a gank. And you're wasting your mana. Like, you don't have to use your mana like that. And you have to think as well. Like, think before you trade. Think before you do anything. What am I trying to do at this point, right? This is probably the biggest thing I see in low elo players. That's everyone in low elo. Like, you know, whether they have good mechanics or not, they'll just do stuff, but not know why they're doing it. Like, you know, why are you pushing the wave there? There's no reason for you to push the wave, because you can freeze it on the tower. Or, why did you stun Kassadin there? It was unlikely you were going to be able to kill him, because he was level 6, and he was near his tower. So, you know, you have to think before you do stuff. Just base here. Your teleport's up. You could clear this wave with your ult. But you have to consider all of, like, you know, you have to think. Just think before you do anything. You know, make it a habit. So now you're basing. Like, why didn't you base earlier? Okay, you only missed one. It was better than it could have. Better than I've seen. You got 150 more gold for that base. That was like the biggest waste of time you spent in lane, because you could, like, you're playing against Kassadin. Every moment you can spend in lane is a moment you could kill him, because he's so weak in lane. Like, you have until he ramps up, and then even then, you know, he's against the fucking Irelia. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so, but, you know, you have to understand, what is Kassadin going to do against you? He can't. He's nothing. He doesn't do any damage early. Like, his base damage is absolute shit. You know, Irelia has really good base damages in comparison. She's one of the most tanky champions at level 1 as well. Kassadin's really squishy early on. So, the things you have to think about. That's an alright freeze. No, I don't see the point in warding that, because you have flash. I mean, I don't know, you can ward that, but considering that Udo is trying to go for dragon, there's not really much point in warding it. Because if they gank top, they lose anyway. So it's better to save. Like that, you just eat him again, while you could You could have started a trade there. Look at the damage you do. Like, that's just one Q auto attack. Did almost half of his health of damage. Imagine if you'd been ordering him immediately after his stun. You'd stunned him. You would have got like 3, 4, 5 autos before you had to use your Q. Would have taken like almost all of his health. In fact, you probably would have full to zeroed him, I think. Wow, you run out of mana really quick. That's what I said on stream to you, I think. You know, just spamming your Q, and of course you're gonna run out of mana. Anyway, your CSing is somewhat better than it was the first 10 minutes. Kill him. Nice. He jumped on you, right? Yeah, that was stupid of him. He can't use his R at all in this matchup, because if he uses it aggressively, you're just gonna kill him. Because there's no way he's going to burst you. There's no way he's going to survive your sustained damage. And you're using up your mana again with your Q. On minions you could be auto-attacking. You know, what you should be doing here is you should be hard pushing this lane, because you just killed Kassadin. I don't think he has TP now. Your team's doing Dragon. Just hard push it. You know, the worst that's gonna happen is Echo's gonna come. But just hard push it. Like, you want to push it into his tower and then base. You're 1400 gold, you can go back and get Sheen. Okay, that's kind of idiotic TP, but okay. I don't know. I think if you were hard pushing that from when his minion wave came, you would have been able to push it into his tower before he TP'd. Go, just go under the tower. No, don't hit him. Wait for him to hit you. Like, you had so much health there was no way they could burst you. And you've null magic as well. That's such a bad base, because now you're going to lose the minion wave. I think you could have stayed there, actually. And then you would have got Trinity Force immediately. If you'd CS that wave properly, and the next... Like, if you'd got most of the CS of the one when you hit Echo, and then this wave, I think you would have got Trinity Force. And that's a wasted TP. Like, if you walked up to lane, just push it, and then walk down. You know, so you walk to lane, push the lane, and then walk to mid. Like, Kassadin's gonna have to choose between going to Egger's farm or helping mid. And, you know, this is low elo. The mid lane is probably not gonna know that you're coming. And you're spamming your Q again. It's like, this is tilting me, dude. Where's Echo? You don't know where Echo is. It's kind of a dangerous situation. You didn't push that into tower properly, so you have to overextend. Okay, I think that's Echo there on Blitzcrank. Push. Push, push, push. Here you could just go into the bush. Like, here you just go into the bush. When he walks up into lane, you know, you go into bush and wait for the next minion wave to pass. He's gonna walk up into it. just stun him, kill him. Even if Echo comes, you'd kill Kassadin and then probably even kill Echo. Or at worst, like, the worst that would happen is you'd get the kill and walk out. Because there's no way Echo's gonna kill you, I think. Doesn't got any items. See him, kill him. I don't think you might not be able to kill him actually. You didn't need a flash out, I think. Can you stay here? What? You got aggro from that? What from? Yeah, that was weird. Stay! Stay! You want the XP, dude. You can stay there. Like, if he jumps on you, you just stun him. Wait, what the fuck? Holy shit, you have like... Ha! You have so many builds here. I don't even have... I haven't got any item sets for anything. I've never been bothered to make them. Anyway, like, the fact that you have, like, very little initiative over what's happening in your lane, that's, like, you could be roaming so much against this Kassadin because you could be forcing him on the tower. You know, you could just straight up kill him several times, and you'd roam to mid, roam to bot, you know, make TP plays. But you have to, like, you know, that to be able to put the map pressure down, you have to be able to control your lane. And, like, that's, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, well, how do you win low elo? You get all your lanes winning, right? There's the best way to win as a top lane. You get all of your lanes winning. Well, what you have to do first, before you start TPing off to other lanes, is you have to have control over your own lane so that when you TP down, you don't lose a shit ton of farm or whatever. You know, you don't lose your tower for it. And what you want to do really is you want to force the enemy to have to decide between teleporting, you know, putting global pressure or keeping up. So if you pushed him on the tower, for example, and then TP'd off somewhere to get a kill, he'd have to decide between taking the minions and helping the rest of his team. Anyway, wait, what the fuck is Uda doing here? You shouldn't be top. You have your TP up in 15, he should just, like, power bot, like, completely shit on bot. Or whatever. You use your E on the minions there, you would have killed Kassadin. Just hit the tower. He doesn't do shit to you. Wow. Kassadin, good top laner. I think you could stay there. Yep, you could have stayed there and pushed the tower and get the extra gold. X, that's alright. That's alright versus Heimerdinger. Oh. Fucking Uda, dude. Kill him. I think you should play that better, but whatever. I don't think there's that much else. Like, the first thing you should really be working on is your laning phase. And at this point, the rest of your team is so snowballed that there's not like... No, none of the mistakes you make will be very obvious at this point because you and your team have such a big advantage now. Speed up. Time. Take a long time to buy. Try to make your chats a bit shorter because you spend time that you could be doing other things typing in chat. You're not typing particularly fast yet, so I think you could have been in a much more aggressive position back there. Yeah, you could like just stand up here and be like, hey Graves, back the fuck off. There's not really any objectives for you guys to take at the moment. None of you are that fed you can do Baron, I think. It would be too risky. Come on, kill the Dingerino. So yeah, I don't know. Not that much after that. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, decision making and stuff pretty much. Like, you know, think before you do stuff. Think why, you know, when you're watching some streamer, think why are they doing this? You know, you have to you have to think about things like that because otherwise if you don't know why they're doing it, when the situation is slightly different, you won't know what to do. You know, if someone tells you to do a really specific strategy, well, what if, you know, something happens and you can't actually do this strategy? Well, you're completely fucked then because you don't know what to do at all. You know, you might climb to diamond playing a certain very specific strategy, but when the game changes, you know, when something happens where you can't use your strategy, you're completely fucked because you're playing like a fucking silver at, you know, everything else you play is silver. You only play that specific strategy as at a diamond level. So you have to think about, you know, you have to think about what's happening in game and why you should be doing a certain thing. So when someone tells you, oh, in this situation you have to do this, why should you be doing this? And yeah, so like active, you know, as much as people can tell you things, you still have to sort of make you have to decipher, you know, you have to unpack what they're telling you. You know, you have to pull it apart and see what's inside, see what, you know, see all of the intricacies of these things. And then what you can do is then you can put all of these things you learned, right? You can put them together and sort of come back to the game and whatever situation's thrown at you, you know, you can more or less know what to do because even though you might not have been in that specific situation, you know other situations that are somewhat similar in different ways, and then you can put them together into the best thing to do in that situation. Anyway, I've been rambling on for quite a while now. 45 minutes, yeah. like almost twice the length of the VoD, but I don't know. Hope you get something out of this, and good luck.